to get up, I'll give a little brief intro to what I'm going to talk to you all about, which is scaling trust and measuring the full funnel power of TikTok creators. So, just really quickly before we dive in, can you put your hand up if you've worked with a creator in the last 6 months? Any creator, not just a TikTok creator. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this is some of you, but most hands were down. So that means that most of you have not worked with creators at all. Can you raise your hand if you're willing to tell me? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but if you're willing to just share a couple words about what has kept you from working with creators, if you haven't yet. If you raise your hand if you have not worked with creators, and by raising your hand, you put yourself subject to me putting you on the spot. I know. Oh, come on, I have to stand up here for 20 minutes. Somebody help me out. Who hasn't worked with creators? Yes.
I'm not cool enough to know any.
You're not cool enough to know anybody. Is that it? It's like a lack of familiarity with the creators themselves?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not that you're not convinced that they can match your business goals. No, okay, so it's just familiarity with creators. Anything else? Shout it out. I won't point at you. I know that's horrible. Shout it out. Why don't you work with creators? Is it budget? Is it you don't think they're going to work?
We're B2B.
You're B2B, so you don't think it's going to work? Okay. That was sort of a very long-winded way of me getting that answer, because I'm here to show you how it can work. Admittedly, creators for a long time have sort of saturated the retail and entertainment and beauty markets, and you've probably heard lots of stories about how they're great at awareness, right? Is this kind of everyone's impression? Yes. And for a long time, that is exactly what we dealt with in the world of creator marketing. But now, especially over the last couple of years, there are tools and examples of brands working in B2B, other difficult to break through categories like pharma, finance, other regulated industries where creators are actually having impact, not just for awareness, but we're also able to measure how they're dealing and driving conversions and sales and the metrics that I think the people in this room are probably more concerned about than awareness and consideration. So really quickly, my name is Emily. As Marsha shared, I lead brand strategy globally for TikTok One, which is our all-in-one creative platform. And that includes our creator marketing solution. So tools for all of you to work directly with TikTok creators on campaigns that will really work. And yes, it is true, when I'm not at TikTok, I perform in comedy shows. You are allowed to laugh at me. I encourage it. A lot of people here, are you all from New York? Can you give me clap your hands if you're from New York? Okay, cool. So we got some out-of-towners in the house. Well, I'm really excited that you've come here and that you're here to talk with me on day 2 about creators on TikTok. So, yeah, sure, it's loading. Cool. That's me. So, I've been at TikTok for about 5 years, which is a really long time to be at TikTok. And in those 5 years, I've watched the role of the TikTok creator change. So, when I first started, they were probably the kinds of creators that I think you all are picturing in your mind, which are these indie creators who were stuck at home during quarantine making really funny videos. And during that time, early on in COVID, when creators were emerging as these indie voices that were connecting with people during a difficult time, they formed these really strong connections with their audiences. And then since then, they've sort of evolved into having celebrity status, right? We see creators starring in global Super Bowl campaigns. We see creators hosting Oscars red carpets. So their influence has gone from just feeling like everybody's besties that they're watching on their phone in the living room to voices that people really turn to, authoritative voices that they trust. Meanwhile, as all of that was going on, the reality of e-commerce has shifted. Does any of this sound relatable to you? You have more tools than ever, more analytics dashboards, more automation, more options for looking at numbers, but not necessarily more to show for it, perhaps even less to show for it. Does this sound like you? Engagement is steady, traffic is steady, but conversions are not growing anymore. And no matter how much you optimize, you just can't seem to make those bottom funnel results go up. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Yeah. And then you open your phone, and your feed is flooded with tons of content from every single business, big and small, in your category, your competition, right? And every single moment of your audience is a moment of competition with those people. How are you expected to keep up? How are you expected to meet this volume with more volume? If the name of the game today is a lot of content in people's feeds to share your message as frequently and as more relatably as possible, if that's the name of the game, then volume is the way to get there. And this is probably where you're like, sure, great. And men in hell want ice water, Emily. I don't have that kind of money. I don't have those kinds of resources. How can I make that kind of volume in an era where budgets are shrinking and you're being held to higher expectations than ever? Now I'm coming in and saying, by the way, you have to make more content. Who here has thought to themselves recently, I don't have what I need to make enough content? You have an idea, you have a vision, you might even have some traction internally, but you just don't have the resources you need. If that sounds like you, creators are the path forward. For scaling with ease, creators are genuinely, especially on TikTok, one of the best strategies you can take because they are effective, their content works, and we're going to go over some data and some insights that proves just how and why it works so well. They're efficient, right? They ideate, write scripts, shoot content, edit that content, send it to you, and incorporate your feedback, and they're one person. They might be working with a team, but they have the role and responsibility of several different marketing partners in one. So that makes them incredibly efficient. And they're full funnel. So regardless what your KPI is, whether you're someone who's expected to bring in a ton of unique reach or your leads just want to see conversions, there are creator strategies and creator tools that can work for you. Let's start by talking about their effectiveness, the effectiveness of creators. So creator content does not just fill feeds. It moves shoppers. I know that I personally have fallen victim many a time to the late night TikTok purchase. Thank you to a compelling creator who showed me a product, whether it was an accessory for my phone or a shampoo that might finally make my hair look shinier. And I thought to myself, well, if they say it, then it must be true. And that's the kind of feeling that creators can give to your audiences. They know the trends and the culture of TikTok, right? Because they're inventing it. They're the thing that makes this platform worth coming to begin with. There would be no TikTok without creators. So by working with them and briefing them on your message and your priorities, what they're going to be able to do is say, okay, those of you who are like, I don't even know anything about creators, I don't know how I could possibly tell this story in a way that would connect with my B2B audience on TikTok. They do. They do it every day without you even being involved. They connect with those viewers on TikTok. And they connect with them so strongly that we know that the majority of users say they would buy a product seen in a TikTok ad just because a creator suggested it. So they're giving you this relevancy and this speed, right, that is critical in an era of high competition and high volume. They're the thing that's going to help you break through. And best of all, once that creator content is finalized and live, it goes to work for you. And it goes to work along the full funnel. Creators can influence users all the way from first impression down to click. They have a direct channel to their viewers, whether through their followers or for the For You page, which gives them incredible reach, right? They're discoverable to people that follow them and not follow them alike. And then, like we said before, their stories are incredibly engaging and authentic, right? That's why people spend a day's worth, a movie's length of time on TikTok every single day. A movie's length of time. That's how compelling these videos are. And that's been incredibly valuable for consideration as well. You can see here through our research that we've noticed, we've seen a measurable lift in awareness and favorability among creator ads because they have that reach and because they're so able to tell a brand story in a way that makes sense on TikTok and really breaks through amid all that digital clutter. But the impact of creators does not start at the top, in the middle of the funnel. There's also bottom funnel results that are measurable from creator results, which I know is important to a lot of people in this room. So we know that the majority of TikTok users say that they click creator links in videos. So if you work with a creator on TikTok One, for example, which is our all-in-one creative platform, and you activate an anchor link, which is a link that you could put in the comments section with a CTA, the majority of our users say they're going to click that. And then, if you're even tapping into more smart tools, like the Adobe Commerce plugin, you can import your product library directly onto TikTok and make those creator ads shoppable. And you know what happens when you make creator ads shoppable? All of this can happen in one step, which means you can go from awareness to consideration faster than you've ever been able to do. That's the power of creators, and we've seen it happen. I'll go over some case studies of how creators have moved results. But the point that I want you to take away here is there is no goal that you can have that a creator can't help you move. That might have been true in the past. It was true 5 years ago that really up here was where creators were doing most of the work. That is not true anymore. Everything we've seen indicates that middle and bottom funnel are where creators have the most potential for growth. Now let's talk about actually getting that content. You're like, great, this sounds perfect. There's all this research that it's going to work. I literally don't even know what that means or how to begin, which is very legit because for a long, long time, creator marketing kind of had this straightforward one-to-one branded content model, right? Like my first exposure to branded content was a famous family whose name I'm not going to drop, selling vitamin gummies. Right, where the brand reached out to them and gave them a brief and they gave one video in return. That's the classic collaboration model that we're all familiar with, right? And that's still viable, but if you're trying to get a high volume of content or you're trying to be as efficient as possible and you don't have a ton of budget, you can't ask a family like that to make ads for you. That's just not realistic. So there are two ways to scale creator content right now that we've seen brands doing very, very effectively. You can either find that content, sourcing existing assets that might work for you as an ad in your campaign, or you can create them from scratch. It all depends on what you need, what you have, and what you're looking for. So we'll go over both of those, how to actually activate down these two paths, and I'll also show you an example of brands that have already done it, so you can really see it in market and how it's already working. Beginning with find, UGC sourcing. What is UGC sourcing? Has anyone done UGC sourcing? Awesome, I see a hand. Okay, so it is exactly what it sounds like. It's very transparent. It is the process of sourcing user-generated content that could be used as an ad in your campaign, ideally high-performing, right? The idea is to find high-performing assets that you can easily convert into a piece of content in your campaign right away. What this does is it keeps your creative pipeline full and your campaigns fresh without any production overhead. Those are assets that are just sitting there, right? So when you're able to activate them, you can add content to your stream and meet those volume needs without any production costs involved. It's also very, very good if anyone here is working on evergreen campaigns or retargeting campaigns and you're dealing with creative fatigue, but you don't have the resources to continually make new assets and you're trying to avoid remixing. This is another instance in which that could help. You can source a new piece of content that you have not paid for to continually fill out that evergreen pipeline. And the great news is TikTok is full of UGC that creators made without the brands even being involved that have the potential to be used as ads. So let's watch a quick video that explains the power of TikTok UGC. Is it possible to hit the play button on the Google slide in there? It's not playing when I hit the advance button. Oh, there's a pointer. Oh. If anyone wants to play like a cat afterward, I have this pointer. For the sake of time, it's all good. It was a sizzle that was explaining the huge volume of UGC that exists on TikTok. Millions and millions of videos. Now, up until about 4 months ago, the process of actually getting that UGC might have been kind of a pain. I saw one hand raised when it came to UGC sourcing, so I know at least one of you is familiar with the old way of doing this, but for those of you who aren't, I'm going to explain it. This is what you used to have to do to get UGC. You would have to pull out your phone, open TikTok, search for your brand or for your industry. Then you'd have to manually scroll through all of those videos and watch them, ideally, hopefully find one that is relevant and performing well. Then you would need to go offline to figure out how to contact that creator, contact that creator's team, and then contact anyone that would be needed for other licensing. Was there music in that video? Was there art featured in all of that individual contacting and licensing had to happen separately, and it took forever. And it precluded a lot of businesses from using UGC, which was a huge missed opportunity, right? We had this potential to give people this awesome resource for basically free ads. So we invested a lot of time and energy into solving that problem. And earlier this year, we rolled out TikTok One Content Suite. And this is the fastest, easiest way to find UGC on TikTok that you can use as an ad. Here's how it works. It scans videos on TikTok to find ad-eligible content about your brand. So the same thing that makes our For You page really sophisticated at understanding what content is, Content Suite uses those same methods to identify what content is about and identify if content is about your brand or related to your brand. Then, the tool ranks the results that it finds based off of their potential to perform. So based off of how that content is already performing and based off of your KPIs and everything we know about content that has performed for that KPI, we show you a list of the ones that are most likely going to do the most, put in the most work for you, bring the most returns for you. And then, if you like one that you find, with a single click of a button, you can request permission from that creator and all other parties to use it as an ad. You don't have to go off platform, you don't have to find 5,000 emails, you don't have to chase people in an endless feedback loop. It's all in one place. And that makes it 10 times faster than traditional offline processes. So all of a sudden, with one login to TikTok One, you now have access to thousands of videos that you can use as an ad with no production overhead. This has worked really well already for some of the brands that have been using it early on in the product's life. So an example of that is American Eagle. American Eagle is a very consistent TikTok advertiser. They've been showing up on the platform since I started. I remember when I just joined in 2021, there was a pair of leggings that American Eagle had that they could not keep in stock for 6 months because of TikTok. They were actually a little annoyed at us because people were starting to call them the TikTok leggings, and they're like, they're actually American Eagle leggings, but thank you very much. And what they did is they came to Content Suite to fill out their pipeline of fresh on-brand content for their always-on campaign. They have an always-on strategy where they are consistently showing up in the For You page to meet those volume demands. But they're just like you. They don't have endless resources and budget and time to fill out that pipeline. They needed a tool like Content Suite. So they came to us and they said, okay, we're going to use your tool to surface the most relevant videos. And there are a lot of videos about American Eagle on TikTok, which they knew, right? Lots of unboxing videos, vlog videos, outfit videos. And they took the ones that were the highest performing and had the most potential to perform in their campaign, and they ran them as ads, and they had incredible returns. So they had an over 80% return on ad spend and an almost 75% increase in conversion rate because they did not pay for any of these, production of these, right? They paid the creator for the media, but these were already existing. So inherently, because of the efficiency and the speed of this method, it brings in returns. It's excellent for performance advertisers. It's excellent if you're being held to high performance standards. If your leadership team is saying, I don't really care about anything other than bottom funnel, this is a way that you can fit creators into that strategy, which previously was very challenging to do. Now, let's talk about scaled creation. Sometimes you need to promote new products or specific messages that aren't showing up in UGC. Or oftentimes brands will say, Emily, my brand just is not showing up in UGC. I'm not American Eagle. I don't have thousands of videos about me on TikTok. What are my options? If that's the case, that's when marketers turn to high volume custom video production, which sounds really expensive and really time consuming. But with tools like TikTok One and similar resources, there are workflows now that allow for scaled content production in a way that is efficient and fast and cost effective to meet the needs, these volume needs that are hanging over all of us right now. So in action, what that looks like is either working through self-serve tools or working with partners. So self-serve tools are tools that you would use yourself. So if you have a really strong in-house creative team, or if you're really scrappy and you handle all marketing campaigns yourself, this would be a really good choice for you. You personally or your creative and social team can go in to a platform, find creators at scale, work through the workflows that are designed for scale production, designed for you to identify and pitch and get content from hundreds, thousands of creators. And those workflows exist within TikTok One. And within the tool, you can find creators, send them a brief, get their videos, send them feedback, and then get the final deliverable at scale, at high volume. And the workflows within TikTok One make this very simple. They make it simple for you to review the content. They make it easy for you to send feedback and put the most performant and the most the content with the most potential to perform live on the platform. But sometimes that's just not realistic. You might not have the resources or the time or the internal bandwidth to handle that yourself through a self-serve tool. In that case, you could work with a trusted partner who can handle the concepting and the content management for you to take it off your plate. So no matter how you work, however your business is set up, whatever your team looks like and your resources, there is a path forward for efficient custom content creation with TikTok creators. And we're going to look at how that worked for a specific brand in Canada. So in Canada, we worked with the brand Shoppers Drug Mart. This is a pharmacy. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to break into a younger Canadian market with relatable messages about a modern, accessible pharmacy experience. So this isn't something they were going to find on Content Suite, right? It was brand new messaging. They wanted to reach a younger audience. There's not a ton of content that you're going to find proactively about creators talking about how pharmacies are integrated into their daily lives, right? So they were not a candidate for UGC sourcing. They were a candidate for custom creation. And what they did is they went on the TikTok One Partner Exchange. And Partner Exchange on TikTok One is a place for you to connect with vetted agencies who are experts in making TikTok creator content and can handle the whole thing for you. So on Partner Exchange, Shoppers Drug Mart found #paid, which is one of our creator marketing partners. And together, #paid and Shoppers Drug Mart deployed a series of expert creators in Canada who have strong connections with their audiences and asked them to talk about Shoppers Drug Mart in a way that made sense for their content. So they made videos that talked about Shoppers Drug Mart in vlogs, in advice videos, in life hack videos, in sketches, in ways that really made sense for them. And they talked about aspects of Shoppers Drug Mart that they knew their audience would care about. Can it help you buy products that you want? Can it help you with services that you're looking to get? Is it easy? Is it fast? The things that they knew their viewers would care about most. And by deploying a high volume of this personalized, tailored content to these audiences, Shoppers Drug Mart was able to bring in an enormous amount of reach and awareness that they were looking for, something that they never would have previously been able to do. All because they were able to tap into the resources and the work streams that they needed to actually make this content in a way that worked for their business. I'm almost out of time. But I want to make sure that I leave you with a tidbit that will stick in your mind. If you remember anything, I want you to remember this, which is that creators can work for you. It seems like most of you have not worked with them before, which honestly is exciting, because I'd like to think that coming out of this, some of you will try this out, some of you will give it a shot. Genuinely, in the last 5 years that I've been watching these tools in this industry grow, there has never been a time where it's more easy to work with creators at scale. And there are so many creators out there, and they're what makes the internet fun. They're the reason you all open your phone to watch TikTok. They're why I open my phone to watch TikTok. I'm not opening TikTok to watch ads. None of us are. And so by collaborating with creators, who are the people that make the internet fun, you're going to make content that's sticky. And when people open their feeds, which is flooded with 1,000,001 videos from all your competitors, and they see a video from a creator that's sticky and relatable to them, they're going to remember you. They're not going to remember your competitors. Let them tell your story in the way that will make sense, and do it at scale with the help of smart tools and managed services that will work for you the way that you work. So as a result, you'll get more content to fill out your pipeline and more performance potential. And when you use tools like the TikTok Business plugin for Adobe Commerce, you can really see and measure that impact at every stage, all the way from awareness to purchase. There's tons of potential. That's it for me today. Thank you all for your time. I'm really excited to see what you create on TikTok. Thank you. Thank you so much, Marsha. I'll do my best. Is there a mic we can pass to questions? No? No, I'll do one. Just come up here.
Check. All right, that's good. 3 down.
If you ask me, I can repeat it so everyone can hear
Yeah,
it.
that's fine. You talked a lot about volume, and then at the end you talked about ads being sticky. So I'm just wondering the relationship between content that is like creating a lot versus stuff that's really good.
It's a great question. I'm glad you asked it. I'm mic'd up, but thank you. The question was, what was your name? Nigel asked me, we're talking about volume, but we're also talking about content being sticky, right? And those two things sort of seem like they are in conflict with one another. That's why creators are, that sound is horrible. That's why creators are fantastic, because they are not going to compromise their content, and you're stretching those strategists thin. But when you tell 5,000 creators, I need a piece of content, they're doing what they always do. So there's less of a likelihood of creative deprecation specifically with them, which is why they're such a great strategy for scaling.
Sorry, one more question.
Of course.
That Canadian pharmacy example was great. About that. How does TikTok manage competition between industries that want to use the same creator to market the same thing?
The question is, how does TikTok manage competition between creators who want to market the same thing?
Between businesses who want to use the same creator to market the same product. Like London Drugs, for example, want to do the same strategy with the same creator.
If London Drugs or a competitor wanted to do the same strategy with the same creator, what would we do about it? We would do nothing. We would never interfere with a creator's ability to make a living on TikTok. And if they get a competing offer, it is at their discretion to accept it. And what I will say is it's very rare that any two creator assets are going to be the same, because the way creators tell stories is so inspired by TikTok culture and so inspired by their day-to-day lives that even if you give them the same brief, if it's 2 weeks apart, that creator's brain is going to be in a different place and they're going to come out with something different. I think I probably have time for one more question.
One question here.
Yes, of
if I can.
course.
So what kind of demographic you would say male versus female, or older versus younger, or any kind of demographic that you can talk about that works more in UGC or evergreen campaign on TikTok, or impulse buying on looking at the shopping reel and shop from there? What kind of demographic? Yeah.
What kind of demographic is the best for driving creator results? The question was, what kind of demographics respond most to creator content? It really depends. It really depends on your brand and your goal and what you're trying to get out of it. It's a myth that creator is exclusively populated by younger people or primarily populated by women. There's a very relatively even split out of audience. It all comes down to how you talk to them. So if you are looking to make creator content and you want to get really strategic about the audience, what I would recommend is using audience insight tools like TikTok Market Scope. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. And that's going to give you a much more specific look at the topics and the keywords and the conversations that are relevant to your audience, including like what's the gender breakdown, what's the language breakdown, where are literally located, where are they? Yeah. And with that intel, you can better brief a creator so they can make content that's more relevant to those people.
Just one quick thing. You did not touch on the B2B versus B2C, right? Because I cannot put my head around that it will work for B2B.
B2B?
Yeah,
like I can pull a B2B case study off the top of my head if I can do it, but like, are you just saying like you want like specific examples of how it might work? Yeah, I mean, like we do see a lot of enterprise accounts who come to TikTok to promote services, especially things like we have financial services that come to TikTok where they're promoting different financial tools for businesses, small businesses. We rely a lot on like industry creators. So if you wanted to, specifically, is there like a B2B goal you can give me, like trying to
automotive part,
automotive.
large distributor looking for retail shops and stuff like that.
Got it. So if you're looking for like an automotive campaign where you're making people aware of where to actually purchase auto influencers. There are a ton of auto influencers on TikTok. Creators who talk about cars. Creators who talk about cars that are good for their family, that are good for the outdoors, that are good for the money. And so no matter the niche that your B2B company is trying to break into, that niche exists on TikTok. I promise you. There is not a niche that you can't find on that platform, 100%. So it's tapping into the creators in that niche and saying to them, hey, you tell my B2B story in a way that's compelling to the audience you already have. All right. I think that's all the time I have for questions. Thank you again, everybody. It was a pleasure being here with you.